All right, today we're going to go ahead and begin chapter 7, which will deal with exponents and properties of exponents. All right, today we're going to go ahead and look at the first 3 properties. All right, so in this chapter, we're going to be looking at exponents or powers. So if we look right here at the example here, our base is going to be the number or letter at the bottom. Our exponent is going to be the power, the number that's up above. So our exponent is the 5. Now, when we go to put these into a calculator, we're going to be looking for this little up arrow. Okay, it's located right to the left. It's located to the left of the 7 when we look at our calculator. So for example, if I wanted to do 2 to the 5th power on a calculator, what I'm going to do is 2, that little caret, and then the 5. All right, when you press that, it should tell you that you get 32. So that's how we'll plug it into the calculator. We're going to need a calculator to solve this. All right, so let's technically look at what's happening here. Look at example A with us. 3 to the 4th power, what does that technically mean? Well, 3 to the 4th power means that we have 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 4 times. All right, now, again, we could calculate it that way, or we could go ahead and press 3 with our little caret 4 and press enter, and it should tell you that you get 81. So 3 to the 4th did equal 81. Let's look at letter B. You'll notice in this picture my base is 3, my base is 3. My first exponent is a 3. My second power or exponent is a 4. So what we do is when the base is the same, notice we have the same base, we copy the base, and then 3 plus 4 gives us 7. We add the powers. Now 3 to the 7th I can put into my calculator, which will tell me 2,187. All right, let's look at example C. My base is 2, so we copy the base. We add the powers. 2 plus 3 tells us 5. If I put 2 to the 5th on a calculator, it tells me that my final answer is 32. All right, so what we're technically doing is we are going to copy the base that's similar, and then we are going to add the powers to complete our answer. All right, so copy the base, add the powers. All right, so here we go. Let's go ahead and do another example. Go down to example 2. Simplify each expression. All right, so we're going to look at what happens with a couple different problems and see how this works. So x and x are our base, so I copy the base, and I add the 3 plus 5. Well, 3 plus 5 tells me x to the 8th. Now, look at example B. You'll notice example B has now thrown some numbers in front of the letters. All right, so notice our A and our A are our base. Those are the 2 common things. However, we have the 2 and a 3 in front. So we need to multiply 2 times 3 because those are numbers in front of the problem. 2 times 3 is 6. And then I'm going to copy the common base. The common base was A. And then 3 plus 4 tells us 7. And we have this one simplified. We are all done. Now, letter C is the same type of problem. We're still multiplying. This time they just went ahead and put some parentheses around it. Still same procedure. It's still technically multiplication. Notice the common base was the x, but there's a 6 and a negative 3 in front of it. Well, 6 times negative 3 is negative 18. X is the common base, so I copy that, and then 2 plus 7 gives me 9. So this simplifies to negative 18x to the 9th power. Now, this time I have 3 parentheses. Notice the common base is the x in each one, but I have a 2, a 3, and a 4 in front of this. Well, 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 4 is 24. I'm going to copy my common base of x, and now let's add the powers. Be very careful here. This x by itself here technically has a 1 there. So 2 plus 1 is 3, plus 3 more gives me 24x to the 6th. All right, let's go ahead and try one more. Here we go. I've got common base of x, I also have a common base of y's that can go together. 3 times 8 is 24. X, I have a 2 and a 1, so x3. And then I have y3 and y2, so 3 plus 2 is 5. So we can go ahead and combine those. All right, so from the multiplication, if it's just the same base, we copy the base and we add them. If it's got a number in front of it, we multiply the numbers, we copy the base, and we add the powers. So there's the two different cases right there. All right, let's look at the next type of problem. You'll notice for this exploration, this time I have a parenthesis with a power, but I have another power on the outside. All right, so what we technically do is we multiply the powers. So I copy the base 2, and then 2 times 4 tells us to the 8th power. All right, I can put that into my calculator, 2 to the 8th power, and press enter, and I get 256. All right, again, we're going to copy the base. The base is x. 3 times 3 tells me 9, so x to the 9. So our rule says to copy the base, and this time we're going to multiply the powers. Here we go. Let's try 3 examples. I've got x as our base. If I multiply in 2 times 5, I'm at x to the 10th. All right, well, if I multiply in, I'm at a to the 25th. If I multiply in, then I'm at 5 to the 12th. Now, technically, I could put 5 to the 12th on my calculator, and we're going to get a big number. All right, so when we have parentheses, we want to go ahead and multiply the powers in. So that's rule number 2. Rule 3 is the same type of thing, but what happens if there's more than one item inside the parenthesis? Well, the rule is if there's more than one item inside the parenthesis, then we distribute to both of them, or multiply to both powers. Remember, this x has a 1, and this y has a 1. So when I multiply this, this becomes x to the 3rd, y to the 3rd. All right, so the rule is that we must go to everything inside. So we multiply it a to the mth power, b to the mth power. All right, let's go ahead and go through the last part of the examples for today. See what we have there. Notice I have 2 things inside the parenthesis. I have this 2, which technically is to a power of 1, and then I have an x squared. I'm going to multiply the 3 and times both of these, so this becomes 2 to the 3 times 1 is 3rd power. Copy the x. 3 times 2 is 6. Well, 2 to the 3rd power turns into an 8, and then I copy x to the 6th. All right, let's go ahead and go to all of them. Remember, this negative 3 is to the 1st power, so if I did that first, I'm at negative 3 squared. If I go to the x next, x 3 times 2 is x6. And if I go to the 2 times 5, I get y to the 10. I'm going to clean that up one time. Be careful with this. Negative 3 squared, so negative 3 times negative 3 should change to a positive 9. Copy x6, y10. All right, let's go ahead and look at 5 explorations, or example 5, and we'll go through a couple more so that you can see a couple more examples, and then we'll get ready to do some practice with it. All right, question 5a. We have 2x squared times 3x to the 5th. All right, I notice common base, common base. I'm going to multiply the 2 times the 3, which gives me 6. I'm going to copy the common base, x, and then 2 plus 5 is 7. So it turns into 6x to the 7th. Now, you'll notice the difference between A and B. If you look closely, look at this beginning part right here for part B. You'll notice that that parenthesis has a 2 on the outside of it. So what this problem is going to require is us to rewrite it first before we can go through and try to clean it up. So that part that I highlighted is where I'm going to start with and rewrite it. Now, you'll notice I have a 2 on the outside, so I need to use my multiplication rule. Well, if I go 4 squared, a to the 6th, and now I'm going to copy the 2a to the 5th. Now, we got to still clean this up. 4 squared is 16. I'm going to copy the a6. I'm going to copy times 2a5. Now, I notice I have 16 times 2, which gives me 32. I'm going to copy my base a, and then 6 plus 5 will tell us 11. All right, let's look at another challenging one. I'm going to first check to see if there's any powers outside of the parenthesis to see if I need to rewrite anything first. I notice there is not, so I am ready to begin this problem. Remember, the x has a 1 and the z has a 1 here, so don't forget those invisible powers are technically 1s. I'm going to multiply the number 4 times 7, which gives me 28. I'm going to copy the x. I have an x1 and an x2, which gives me 2 plus 1 is 3. I have a y3 and a y4, so 3 plus 4 is 7. I have a z1 and a z3, so 1 plus 3 is 4. I've got each letter one time, and I multiplied my numbers already. All right, let's go to the last two. I will warn you, E is going to be very challenging. Let's look at D first. First, I'm going to check to see if I need to rewrite anything. However, I do not see anything right now that needs to be rewritten. So let's go ahead and put in any 1s that we need to so that we don't forget it has a power of 1 there. And now I'm going to start off with the numbers. I have 5 times 2 times 3, so 5 times 2 is 10. 10 times 3 is 30 when I multiply the 3 numbers in front. I'm going to copy the x. I have x1 plus x2 is x3 plus 3 more x's gives me x6 when I add those powers. I have y2 plus y1 is y3 plus 4 more gives me y to the 7. So I'm at 30x to the 6th, y to the 7th. All right, let's go ahead and look at one more example. Now, when we look at this example here, let's check and see if we need to write anything out first. I notice right away when I look at this is that this part right here, it's got a power up here, this 3. I need to distribute and rewrite that whole part first. So I'm going to have to take that 3 and go to everything. So 3 to the 3rd. X, 3 times 2 is 6. Y, 3 times 3 is 9. So we wrote the first part. I'm going to copy my next part. I have a 2x, and I'm going to put a 1 there so I know it's there. And then I'm going to copy the last part. I have x4, y3. All right, I am going to rewrite this again and clean it up. So let me switch colors. 3 to the 3rd, 3 times 3 times 3, if I put that on a calculator, was 27. I'm going to copy my x6 and y9. I'm going to copy times 2x1, and I'm going to copy x4, y3. I still have 2 numbers I can multiply. 2 times 27 will give us 54, and let me switch colors one more time. I have x6 plus x1 is x7 plus 4 more. So I have x6, 7, 11. And now let's do our y's. I have y6 plus y3, which gives me y9. All right, so the deal is there are the notes for right now. All right, now we're going to go ahead and get into some practice. All right, if you look below, we are now going to try 14 problems and see how we can do.